Right, a bit of a different video today because on the channel we're going to talk about kids today, and we don't have many videos about kids, but this is something that came up in a conversation in the car, and we thought, right, you know what, this will make a cool video. This is also a good way for me to rope in my special guest. I have someone sat next to me today.
Hi.
I have the boss.
The boss.
The boss.
The boss.
Yeah, sits behind the scenes normally, directing, but today she's on camera. Introduce yourself, Lara. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm Lara and I'm Chris's wife.
Yeah, also Lara from Upsticks Drive works in the office.
Yep.
With us, and Lara's normally on the other side of the camera, normally one holding the camera. I've been dying to get her on the channel as well to talk about more family type things. We've got an awful lot. We talk about the NLV and stuff like that, but we also wanted to get some family stuff on here and share our experiences as well as parents in Spain. Hence this video. So we were having a conversation in the car about having children in Spain and what qualifies as well. We have children in Spain. We've got five, no, we haven't.
7 and a 10-year-old.
Oops.
Got that wrong.
Got that wrong.
Not good to get wrong.
7 and 10-year-old. They were born here. I've lived here for 24 years. Lara's been here for 20 years. What else can we tell you? We're going to tell you the full story one day. Been married forever.
Forever.
No, I've been together for 20 years and been married for 15. And we've got 2 kids who go to a Spanish school. So anyway, we're going to crack on with number 1. What is the first thing you need to know when you've got children in Spain? Number 1.
Children's birthday parties.
Yeah, not my favourite.
Yeah, if Chris can get out of going, he won't go. He sends me.
No. Just because you've got children doesn't mean you like all children.
Not very nice.
Hey?
That's not very nice.
Yeah, that came out wrong, doesn't it? No, but
yeah, I like kids.
No, but the birthday parties can be really screaming, can't they? You know.
Yeah, it's a lot of noise.
But that's not what we want to say. Basically, we want to talk to you about the time in the birthday party. Evidently, being British, we still hold a certain amount of punctuality about us. And evidently, when we had kids for the first time, albeit, so Raoul was born in 2014. So I'd been here 14 years at that point. You'd been here 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was our first experience of evidently having kids and birthday parties and stuff. So the first time when they get to about 3 or 4, they start getting invited to birthday parties, don't they?
Yeah, and be prepared for a lot of birthday parties. Because once they start school, if you imagine, there's 25 usually in a class. And you imagine nearly every week, for at least for the first, 4, 5, 6, until they're at least 6, they generally, because they're all in Infantil together, they are invited to every...
Infantil?
Like infant school from 3 till 6. And the problem with that is because they're just getting to know their friends, they're usually invited to every single party. So like every week there's a party. The good thing is when they get to about 7 or 8, they kind of whittle out who their friends are. And also they divide the classes when they go into junior school. So it mixes the class up. And that kind of reduces the amount of birthday parties a little bit because you're generally invited to your friends, not to the whole class.
But then they get friends with the brothers and sisters and get invited to theirs as well, don't they?
Yeah, which makes me, okay.
So
then,
you can pretty much count on like 40 parties a year, can't you?
Yeah, it can be quite expensive, as in like usually by the time I found the first year, because you're just getting to know your feet and the other mums, that people will turn up. The average price for a present would be about €10. And that's what you generally do when you first get involved. Yeah, when you get involved in the class. But then when you...
€400 a year on the presents, the birthday party.
Well, what happens is when you then start knowing people and the mums get together, they'll be like, okay, let's everybody put €10 in, and then the mum usually buys the present, like a better present for the kids, because there's only so much you can buy with €10. It's usually like some plastic rubbish.
Which blows up my theory that I think, because they always have like 25 kids at these parties, 30 kids at these parties, and they ask for €10 each. And I reckon that's like 250 to €300. And I never see €300 worth of presents when they go. I reckon the parents pocket it.
No, they don't. They don't. They really don't. No. Yeah, I tell you what, toys are expensive. Go to Toys R Us or something. Really expensive, yeah.
But anyway, the first bit of advice is when you get invited to a birthday party, don't go at the time they tell you to go, because the first times that we went, they were like, "Oh, it's 5 till finish," and we were like, "Okay, then." So 5 to 5, we're actually at the birthday party. They're punctual, and there's nobody there. They're still literally hanging. Spain is very,
they're like, if you go if they say 5 till 8 or something, if you turn up at 5, usually you'll end up putting the balloons up with the grandma, because they've not even set up the stuff.
You want to rock up fashionably late. You don't want to miss the cake. All right, so the cake is a big thing. You don't want to miss that. That's huge. But that normally happens half an hour before the end. And I reckon you want to at least add an hour and 15 minutes to the start time of the party. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Hour and 15?
What do you mean?
So if someone tells you there's a party at 6 o'clock, you want to be rocking up about 7:30, 7:30.
No, I'd go about 6:30, 6:45. It depends what party it is, to be honest, because if you go to these ballparks, there's one near us, Tres Marias, that's they've rented it for the day, so they'll say 5 till 8, and it's usually 6 till 11. That's what time everybody leaves. But if you're going somewhere like Boeing Jump in Malaga Centre, which is a trampoline park, they have a set time of when they're going to jump, so it's totally different. You just have to be informed before you go, type thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you turn up too late, then the kids won't get to bounce.
So you have three sorts of parties. So you have parties at people's houses, which I'd definitely turn up fashionably late. You're going to be at someone's house like an idiot on your own. You've got the parties where it's true, though, that has happened to me twice. The parties where they just rent the warehouse, and the warehouse, I would say, turn up about an hour after the start time. But then if you're going to a fixed activity, you probably would need to be on time, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Boeing Jump, bowling, that kind of thing. Anything where there's monitores that are doing it for you, because they've got they're being paid by the hour, etc.
And if you are going to book one of these things for your children, just be aware that you are looking at between 12, 13, up to 15 to 20 euros a head per child, because I once took Raoul.
You went excessive though, a VIP lounge. That's why.
Well, we had our own room. They called it VIP. We had our own room. They called it VIP. And I'm not even going to tell you what the bill was, but after inviting 20 kids, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Invite the kids. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah." And I got to the end, and it was a
lot of money.
Yeah. So you've got to be prepared for that. But then obviously, you're going to have it at your house. You've got to be prepared. There's going to be an awful lot of people coming, and most of the time you have to accommodate the parents as well.
Yeah.
So okay, that's point 1. What's point 2?
Number 2 is the extra classes.
This is right, extra classes. Now, the one good thing about Spain is that because we have the weather, which means we can be outside an awful lot, long time of the year. The kids can have classes outside a lot, and they have a lot of extra school classes here. I mean, our experience has been that they just can't fit them all in. So you can have anything you want. So it can be chess, robotics,
basketball, dance, gymnastics. Golf.
They've just got everything they want here, but some are managed in the school, so they're extra school classes, so your children can stay at school later, and some are external.
Yeah, basically, and also on that, depending on the classes, what they each class wants to be paid differently. So, some might want to do bank transfer, some want a bithum, which is in Spain it's your telephone number that's associated with your bank account, so you can pay them through via that on the app, the banking app. You can pass it along. Or others want cash, which can be annoying because if you generally use card like us a lot, it's
so they all have different payment platforms. So you might go to one of the subcontracted classes at the school might want you to send a mobile, as you said, bithum. Just explain what bithum is.
Bithum is an app. It's the banking app, but the bithum section is where it's associated with your telephone number. So all your contacts, if somebody has Bithum, you can send money. Like, for example, we had a Chinese last night with some friends, and today they paid on their card, and then this morning I just associated with their telephone number, I sent half the amount, and that means I paid them. The maximum you can spend is 500 per day.
It's like a real quick transfer associated to your phone.
It's like instant and no cost.
Yeah, and is it only in Spain? It's not in the UK, Bithum, is it?
I don't think so.
No. So it's like very popular here. Some of the classes want you to set up a regular transfer, but you have to be careful to stop that when you get to summer, because we have a long summer here. As we said, some of them want cash as well.
Cash. More and more people are wanting cash.
Strange. It's supposed to be going to a cashless society, and more of the classes want cash. And what else do we have here in our notes? And the other thing was, well, because really you're the one that does all the organising of the classes and everything, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't really know what goes on. I just get told where to go and when to be there. But what's really annoying is the last minute arranging of everything. So you've got to be prepared to be quite flexible. Sometimes I never know when I can't get my head around how people who might have set timetables in their jobs. Evidently we do, because we work in an office, but I can be a bit more flexible. How they get around it, because we literally get last minute things thrown at us all the time, don't we?
Yeah, we get like golf, for example. They might say on a Wednesday, this week there's a tournament, and instead of having to be there on a Sunday at 10, you have to be there on a Saturday at 4 o'clock. But the problem with that is, if you've made arrangements, you have to either cancel your arrangements or you have to lose the lesson, I'm afraid, or the tournament.
Yeah, so classes are brilliant in Spain. They've got lots of extra classes. You can always find them. The weather does accompany those classes as well. A lot of the time they do carry on through the summer, but you have to be prepared to be quite flexible. And also, it's always good to have a bit of cash on you in Spain. It always is. It's not a cashless society yet. If you've definitely got children, you definitely need to have cash on you. Well, if you definitely got children, I mean, you would know if you had children, wouldn't you? But what I'm saying is, if you've got children, it's always good to be walking around with a bit of cash on you, because at the end of the month they'll be coming to you for the classes payments in cash sometimes.
Yeah, and the school trips as well. Generally, they ask for cash.
Yeah, school trips ask for cash as well. So okay, then. So that is point 2, and now let's move on to point 3. The point 3 is,
what is it?
Well, this is professional now.
Sorry. The campamentos, which
this
is
would never go viral.
summer club. I am taking it seriously.
It would never go viral.
Come on, give me slack. It's my first one.
Okay, then I'll give you some slack.
Oh yeah, campamentos. Which is it campamentos? I said it wrong.
Is it campamentos?
Campamentos. No, campament.
It's
campamentos. Yeah, which is summer club.
Yes, campamento is not.
Campamentos. What is that?
Campamentos. That's Spanglish. It's made that up.
Yeah, just made that up. Yeah.
Campamentos is not to be confused. You don't send your kids off camping, but campamentos is when we have holidays here. Various organisations set up campamentos. Mm-hmm. Don't they? So you can have the town hall actually set them up, don't they?
Yeah. They did one a couple of years ago, which is a shame they stopped doing it. They have the main town hall one, which is in the sports centre. But then when it was COVID, they moved it out of town into a local village, and they did it in like an outdoor setting.
A field. Like a
field, basically. It was all cornered off, but it was like a field. And they set up like big plastic swimming pools, and they all had a team, and they were all given a camp name. I think it was like Indian sort of like top names, like they were all given.
It was themed, wasn't it?
Themed like an Indian. It was called, what was the name again?
I can't remember now, but I know they all had to go in with it. It was quite cool. I thought it was very cool having it outside. It was a very shaded area, field. They sort of closed it all off.
Yeah.
And it was
they had a lot
safe, but now they moved it back into the sports hall.
Yeah, which is not, I don't think it's good. But yeah.
But what you have to be aware of is that the town hall ones, the ones around by the town hall, are very cheap, so cheap. Because childcare is incredibly cheap. It's like 50 euros a month or something to send your kids to this, and they can go from like 9 till 2. So incredibly cheap. But the waiting list is enormous. If you want to get into the summer camp, you really have to be on it like from Easter onwards, don't you?
Well, basically the moment that the inscriptions, you need to like go to the town hall and inform yourself of when the date of the inscriptions will open, and then be there like that day. Like, and they'll ask you for certain things like your NIE number, your passport, obviously to how do you say in English?
You're showing your time in Spain now. So inscription.
That's what I'm thinking. What is that in English?
That's registration.
That's it, yeah.
So we say inscripción in Spanish, and it's registration. So you've got to be pendant of when the registration date is. Don't forget that anybody who has a cousin or a family member working at the town hall will always find out before you. So you need to get yourself
get yourself a friend at the town hall.
Those first 200 places always go really, really quickly, and then it's for the general public. But generally, the town hall ones are really good. Then you've got private ones, haven't you?
Yeah, private. I mean, they vary in price depending on where you're going. There's some private ones where we are that are cheaper, 50 a week, something like that. And then,
which is still ridiculously cheap.
It's still really, really cheap. Yeah. But like basketball, they do. I think they're about 50 a week. Where else is there? Baila con Desi, one of the dance schools, they do one. The gymnastics camp, they do one.
But generally speaking, so for people who are like living in Alarin where we are, they will have to look for either their local town hall one or talk to the people who do the classes at the school, because they will know the private ones.
It, like the after school clubs, if you speak with the teachers there, then always like I mean, generally we have within the school, we have like a WhatsApp group and in the class. And you just send a little message in there and ask, like, is there any campamento?
I'm glad you're in the WhatsApp groups. Oh, dear.
Yeah, I'm in all the WhatsApp groups.
That isn't even on our list. In fact, we're going to add that to the end of WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, they're getting better, I think, with time. It's just that sometimes all the mums start talking about a lot of stuff and it's not really relevant.
They should have WhatsApp groups where you can only post information and not every 25 members put a smiley face on. Every time I
found with time it's got much better, but like when I first when the kids were in infantil, it was like someone would write, Maria's sick, and then like about 50 parents would write, me corrate, and like just be like love hearts, and it's fine, and everybody should be polite to one another. But then when something important would come from the teacher, you would completely miss it because you would just not be sit there reading what everybody's put in, and it got a little bit annoying, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure that's the same around the world. I'm sure it's not just Spain that have crazy WhatsApp groups for the classes. But so childcare in Spain during the periods, the half terms and summer is generally very quick, but you do have to be very organised and find yourself some campamentos. Yeah,
usually it'll be the summer ones usually like announced a little bit before, but like say Semana Blanca here in Spain, White Week. You wouldn't know about a campamento. I have no idea. You'd have to they'd let you know like 2 weeks before. Yeah.
Brilliant. So let's move on to point number 4. So point number 4 is homework. So we got told we did get that kids, when they get to around 7, get an awful lot of homework. And that hasn't really been our experience with public school yet, has it?
No.
So if you have got kids in public school, let us know what your experience is. But you know more about homework too.
We've been very lucky because our kids haven't been given a lot of homework. My understanding in the class is that if kids don't finish their features, which is a worksheet, then they send it home with them to finish it off. Our kids generally finish off their worksheets, so they don't bring them home. But I do believe it's depends on the relevant teacher of whether or not they like giving homework, basically.
Yeah, I think some teachers give more than others. A lot of teachers will say if kids don't finish their work in the class, they'll send it home, won't they? Mm-hmm. They get a lot of projects, which sometimes annoying because then they'll literally tell you about the project at like 7 o'clock at night, and you find yourself at 8 o'clock running down the Chinese shop to try and find some purple baubles and sellotape and
generally
crazy stuff like that. But what we would say about homework also is that obviously it comes in Spanish. So unless you've got a kid in international school and they get an English homework, if you're living in Spain in a public school like our kids are, then homework comes in Spanish. And albeit you're fluent, so we are fluent in Spanish, but we learn as adults.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's words which just aren't in your vocabulary. It doesn't matter how good your Spanish is. When your homework turns up, you're looking at things like, like, I don't know, we were saying like ladybird, weren't we, and stuff like that. It's just, I need to Google this.
Yeah.
So yeah, and especially you were saying with maths, weren't you?
Yeah, maths. Yeah, it's like they do a lot of like written words in Spanish, but obviously speaking about maths, like subtraction, blah blah blah, and some of them like I don't know what they mean. You have to it's a bit more difficult, but it's because I never used it before, so
Yeah, so it's if you, and then who knows what it's going to be like when they start getting into science and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the different words, and just if you don't kind of use the word. Like I remember when I first came to Spain, and then I worked in a hotel, and I was just learning Spanish, and I didn't know what bin was, and you can imagine running around with like 300 Spanish, and you're like the English girl, and I was like bin, like running around the bar, and then this guy was like, one of the waiters was like, basura, and like it sounds ridiculous, but if you don't use it, you just don't know it.
You don't know, as an adult, when you learn as an adult, you only learn the vocabulary in the circumstances that you need it, right?
Yeah.
So when we did a house reform back in 2009, I didn't know anything. I didn't have a building vocabulary, but I did by the end of it.
Sand and all things like that.
We're walking there going, cemento. They're going, that's actually right. I'm going, oh, brilliant, guess that one. But what we did do with our children is, and if you're moving and you're planning on having children here, is because we speak English at home, we had, and our children been immersed in Spanish since day one. They went to nursery at 5 months old, and we went back to work. In fact, our daughter went at 3 months, even earlier. But we had a Spanish tutor for the kids. So literally from day dot, when they could speak, they went twice a week to somebody who literally just helped them with their grammar and spelling and stuff. And that went on until I was 5 or 6, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Until she started getting a little bit more comprehensive work directly at school. So,
but that's because at home we speak English. Obviously both being English, but I've got friends that have Spanish partners, and they're like French, Canadian, and Dutch, and their home life is Spanish. Like the grandparents are there speaking Spanish, and the husband speaking Spanish, whereas we are speaking English. So we felt the necessity to have a tutor, because we wanted to make sure that they had, even though they were listening to Spanish all day long at nursery, we just wanted to make sure that they had that basic, the written, the grammar, that kind of side of things, to make sure they weren't going to be behind in any way.
Which has worked.
Yeah.
Very good. This is my daughter. She sounds like a right Malagueña.
Boquerón,
as they call them here. So if you're having kids, prepared to be able to help them with the homework. There isn't always that much. If you find that, the other thing as well, the last thing to mention on homework is that also check your kids' bags, because they send
they send like a feature, something like a paper, and then if you don't see the paper, then
like our daughter, she likes to hide a bit of homework, doesn't she? When she gets it. So there we go, homework. So if you can find yourself a tutor, if you don't speak Spanish that well, and even if you do, it's probably a good idea to get somebody to give them at least once a week to help them with the grammar and stuff like that. Yeah. So the next point is
number 5.
Getting good at this now.
No.
Stop laughing, you're wobbling the camera.
Sorry.
You're on a bit of a dodgy table there.
Yeah, it's a bit dodgy. It's our garden table, and when my friends come, if you're saying it's quite a big table, and if they're sat at the other side and then someone sits up, it's like, woo, the table fell.
You're actually going to tell them what number 5 is.
Oh yeah, sorry. Number 5. Number 5 is late nights.
It's so late, even when you've got kids. In the summer, it was shocking when we first had kids how late people stay up with kids. And you can quite often, you walk around town in the summer and the restaurants just be full of kids at like 11:30 at night. And because it's quite warm, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what time people go out, because it's so, like midday, it's really, really hot, so nobody's around. And then by 10, 11 at night, that's when everybody's heading out, and obviously all kids and babies and etc. etc.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, it's the late nights in the summer, not so much in the winter, but it is late nights. And what we've noticed as well is sometimes we're going back to birthday parties, and we have birthday parties that start and they don't end till like 9:30. But you've got to get your kids up for like 7 to go to school the next day.
Yeah, that is quite a big. Yeah,
And
I
it's
find
like-
that
and I'm like,
because
"Can we
our
go?
kids
Can we
don't really
go?"
have a siesta, so like our kids are like the whole day through. So it can be a bit much.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
even in winter. And in summer, obviously they have the summer holidays. They have like the 3 months off nearly. But then if you have to work in office hours like that we do, then sometimes the late nights in summer with any sort of event or something, they can go on to like 12, 1, even during the week. You know, and
in August especially.
yeah, so prepared. You're not going to be tucked up in bed at 10 o'clock if you've got kids in the summer.
No, definitely not. No, and even like we now live in the country, but we used to live in a townhouse, and like I remember when Raoul was like 5 years old, the neighbours would like come. The neighbours' kids would come knocking on the door and like, oh, can Raoul come and play? And I'm like, I'm not gonna let my 5-year-old like run around the street at like, well, I won't anyway, but do you know what I mean? Like 10 at night, so it's late. Yeah.
But that would be quite normal to have people set out. So the late nights, be prepared for late nights.
Yeah.
And you think we'd be used to it by now, but even I'm sometimes going, oh, can we go home now? You know, especially you don't mind too much of the weekend, especially when you've got to get for work the next day. You'll find that the summer, the late nights
it's really late,
crazy, aren't they?
Yeah, and even like we found like we've been in a bar and there'll be like a newborn baby in a crib, like in a pram next to the bar, and it's like a disco bar, and you're like, you know, that was obviously before we had kids. I remember that, but it's nice because it's so family orientated and there's no kind of divide. You know, I mean, we've been back to visit friends in the UK, and it's getting to 7 p.m. and we would like to go and eat somewhere, and we can't because we've got kids with us. Like that has happened to us before in Yorkshire.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's because it's such a divide, isn't there, between a pub and a family eating place. Whereas here, everything is just mixed, you know.
Yeah, it's so the kids are, you know, they're well integrated into life. You'll find that it's great in the evening. You go out for an evening meal, and there'll be kids everywhere, which isn't always everybody's cup of tea either. And you can always find places which generally the more upmarket type of places won't have smaller kids in there. If you're right into the middle of Malaga, but if you go into one of the towns, even the nicer restaurants, you know, you're always going to have kids there. Yeah, that is kids as a way of life here, isn't it? Yeah,
but that's the best thing. Like family life is, it's the best life.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's lovely how when you see the families all together at 11:30 at night, you know, running around. It's just
and how like we've got lots of nice Spanish friends, and they just treat you like part of the family. And you know, there's like the grandma and granddad there, and you know, everybody's there, and the auntie and the uncle, and you know, they like our friends Lourdes and Antonio, like with Isla especially, like you know, when Lourdes is there, I don't even get a look in, like she's off.
Very well. You can't really say integrated because she was born here.
Yeah.
So, but she's part of the family.
She's a bocaron. A bocaron is a child that's been born in Malaga, which is them little fishes.
Bocaron is a little fish, which is the emblem of Malaga, and they also call people who live here bocarones, don't they?
Yep, they do, yeah. And if you want a t-shirt, Lila and Lulu, my best friend, she's got a clothing line with that on.
Has she?
Yeah.
We'll put a link below.
We'll put a link below. Yeah, and Isla's a model in her photo shoot, so check it out.
Cool. Right, well, I think we've waffled on enough about kids. So that's our 5 points. So, we're going to do more videos about family life. As you can see, I used to think I could ramble on a bit, but...
What are you trying to say?
Just saying. Do you know what I mean? That's it. These videos might be very long.
Much.
No, you don't.
No.
You did very well. So this was Lara's first video. We're going to be doing more. Let us know what subjects you'd like to know about family life in Spain. We might keep it less than half an hour long next time.
Were we that long?
Yeah.
Oh, God, sorry.
Right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and more videos out soon.